It's the Donna Adelson trial. Dan Markell, the father of Benjamin and Lincoln, was murdered 11 years ago. It's all led to this. Donna Adelson is charged with first-degree murder. If convicted, she faces life in prison without parole. And at her age, we all know what that means. We'll use our law enforcement experience to comment on the case as friends, family, and the people seek justice for Dan Markell. All that and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center. Wake up, America. It's the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. It's a TV show on the internet about two best friends, something, the textile industry. That's literally what we had like 2 seconds ago. This is a live show. We're covering the Donna Adelson trial. This is our first of many live episodes. They've impaneled a jury today. It's very exciting. I don't know about you, Drew, but I was at the edge of my seat the entire day. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. I've been doing that job in my community for more than 10 years. Joining me, as always, is my podcasting partner with police benefits. That's Andrew Baxter. On the internet, he goes by the fake name Drew Breezy. He's an authentic cop. Thank you to everybody who's joining us live. We will take your phone calls later. We do have tons to talk about, even though the trial has only just begun. Drew, congratulations. The Eric and Lyle Menendez, your two personal heroes, will soon be out on the streets of California, murdering again. How are you, buddy?
If you haven't seen the epic arguments where our own Abby Ellsworth and I are teamed up on
I hate that episode. I hate that episode. You realize I was so mean to Abby in that one? Do you remember when she goes just like, well, I believe them? And I said, well, I lie all the time and you believe me. It's just like, that was awful.
Yeah, I don't, I have my own opinion. Here's the beauty of the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. And this could be the Comm Center with John from the Comm Center also, by the way.
No.
It's an equal partnership show. It just happens to have my name on it. Just remember that, John. And I have a video to show you later that will
compromising video.
You're allowed to have alternative opinions in this arena, and it's very odd sometimes that, like, the true crime crowd, and I love the true crime crowd. I'm a true crime fan. I mean, like, it's odd probably that cops watch true crime sometimes, but I'm a fan. Like, my go-to is Dateline. Like, I have Dateline on my TV constantly. My wife and I watch Dateline constantly. We can usually within the first 4 or 5 seconds tell you which episode it is.
Well, what I hated about watching true crime with you and your wife is that it would come on and then both of you, because of your career certainly, and then just other things, you just solved it right away. Yeah. You're like, it was that guy, and I'm like, come on, man, I'm trying to have a little mystery in my life.
There is a lot of that, which brings me to my point, John. Like, I have experience, and I use that experience. I couple that with instincts. I couple that with 30 years of dealing with this shit.
Your magnifying glass, your library card.
Yeah, the double billed hat, and
pork pie hat.
Pork pie. So God bless you. So I have opinions. Like, I have opinions on, and they may not align with some of the people that we have in our audience. And it's okay. It's okay if you have a different opinion.
It's okay to be wrong.
Have a different opinion, though, because these trials tend to turn out like soap operas, and people get over-invested in them sometimes. And there are certain things that they want to see happen, but may not happen because of, the reality.
Like us pronouncing names correctly. Not going to happen.
I mean, like, so I'm bad with names, like, sue me. Or John's bad with names. Sue me.
Sue Drew as well. Yes.
So,
Drew's my attorney, so it all works out.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to fear that if you go back and see some of our previous episodes that you're like, oh my God, he thinks this about Karen Reed. Or
I had to put that in there. Like, you're going to watch. We would get so many people would say, I love the show. And we were like, you're not going to love it when you go back and watch Karen Reed. But
yeah,
make sure you check out Sarah Boone so you can re-love us again.
Yeah, I mean, so like Sarah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like Linda Sturmer and all these other trials that we covered. Like, how can we be so dead right on all of those except for one trial and be so dead wrong on that one? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I do get shit wrong. I get it. But you know, like just because like certain defense attorneys who used to be prosecutors or prosecutors who used to be defense attorneys like see things one way and they espouse on their podcast. Is that me going white or is that you?
It wasn't your fault, but
Oh,
I will blame you for that.
so that they espouse on their podcast that, you know, Alan Jackson is brilliant and Karen Reed's being suppressed by the man. And I don't share that. I just don't share that opinion. It's not personal. Like, I understand what you're saying. And there was even a comment today about, I had to flex a little. It was a guy, like, we're approaching 10,000 subscribers. I never thought we would get here. I had confidence we could. I never knew that we would. And hopefully we'll get there by this weekend. So there was somebody that said it was the Michael Proctor episode, which is, again, you know, we're villains if we tell the truth in that one. But how do we get so many likes on that? You know what I mean? There's a whole silent majority out there that kind of agrees with this or just afraid to say it. And it said something to the effect of, ooh, I don't think you're going to get very many views and you're not going to get very many subscribers after people see this one or something to that effect. And I'm like, we've gained like 1,500 subscribers since that aired. And it's only been like 2 months. It's only been a month and a half or 2 months. And we've gained like probably 30,000 to 40,000 views easily in that period of time. I'm not even like, you know, we're just that great. I'm just saying maybe the mainstream opinion is not always the correct opinion. Maybe there are other people with an alternate opinion. And, you know, and it even kind of goes to Wendy Adelson. Like, I have a theory. John may not disagree, or John may not agree.
I think that bitch did it. I'm saying that right now.
Yeah, right. I say that if they had enough to indict her, they would have indicted her by now. I understand.
I think they're just saving the best for last.
I get it. They are definitely building on each other. They're building on each previous case, which is a brilliant tactic and motive and everything else. I have nothing bad to say about the state attorney's office there. I do know the world of informants and RICO cases and conspiracy cases. And I often wonder why, if they're like, Donna's not real happy with Wendy right now. Charlie is sitting in prison for the rest of his life, all because of Wendy's ex-husband. What makes any of you think that they're still protecting her, that they won't flip on her? Like, if they had something to flip on her, don't you think they would have done it by now? Now, I could be completely wrong. I get it. She could be indicted over some other stuff.
This guy's terrible at throwing surprise parties, guys. He has no idea how to do it. He has no idea the art and the craft of the surprise party. I can't wait till first of all, they're gonna get Donna here, you know, in a couple weeks. Boom, move on Harvey. No time. They need to get him before he dies. And then Wendy's the last one standing. And then a cop jumps out of a cake or something and puts handcuffs on her. Like, you're going to, they've called her an unindicted co-conspirator. I mean, these words have been used.
I do believe that she had, it's this malice of forethought. It's the guilty conscience. I think that she knew once it happened, she probably put 2 and 2 together. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Well, yeah, within the first 2 hours, she mentioned Charlie. I mean, the prosecutor, during the cross-examination of Charlie, he's like, "Are you mad at your sister for basically naming you?" You know, within the first 2 hours, she had no reason to mention your name at all, and yet your name came up.
But so like, and there are some inconsistencies. Like her boyfriend, you know, with that statement he made that, like, you know, she was like, "Well, what if there was really a hitman and all this other stuff?" So, look, all I'm trying to tell you is this. Every good true crime story starts with a 911 call. That's what we're here to do. We're here to shed light on what happens behind the scenes of a 911 center and in an investigation. And we take it from the 911 call all the way to the verdict, right? And we have to, unfortunately, spend most of our time on the verdict, because on the court process, because that's where the audience wants us. One,
It's where the fun is. That's why I know someday this is going to be a cop and lawyer show, and I won't even be here anymore.
and two, that's where the bread is buttered. But like, that's the outcome. The first thing is it's the birth is the 911 call. That's Jon's role.
The first 5 minutes I'm here, guys.
The last part is the jury of the defendant's peers making a decision on the rest of their life. So like we follow it's so okay. Like how about this? There's a whole people still aren't convinced about Hannah Payne. I still haven't figured out how they haven't jumped on the Karen Reed bandwagon with Hannah Payne, because she's getting railroaded worse than Karen Reed ever would. Even if you think she's guilty, she was overpunished, and there's a bunch of other stuff. And that's turned into a racial issue, which it's not. So it's turned me into a racist, which I'm not. And just so everyone knows, there's a couple tidbits. Like we've been in contact with the family loosely since. They just had a hearing like a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, for her to get a new trial. I don't know if people know that. I don't know what the outcome is. The judge hasn't ruled yet. I do know that the officer, the detective in that case, the one that did all the testifying, and he is now a decertified officer. He was caught using drugs, and he came up dirty in a urine test. And he didn't just get fired from his department. He lost his entire situation to be a law enforcement officer. And
this whole situation's gone.
And people like parade in the streets and wear pink shirts for Karen Reed, but for Hannah Payne, they're like, oh yeah, that overzealous bitch, all she did was just chase this guy down and kill him because he was black. But there's so much more to that case. There's so much more nuance to that case, especially if you listen to what the 911 call taker was saying and what Hannah was hearing. There's just a lot to it. So it's not that I don't think she deserves punishment, or it's not that I don't think that, there's still nobody in this world that has seen her pull a trigger on that gun, but she was convicted for the rest of her life. She's spending the rest of her life in prison. So no matter who the defendant is, we're just kind of looking for a fair trial. We're going to call out the process the way we see it. And if you have
mostly we're going to be contrarian, just like say something different than what you're hearing somewhere else. And we could be wrong, but let's talk about it. I mean, Drew's wrong almost every episode.
Almost every episode. And it's just a new positive outlook, Jon. We just want to be positive about being positive. That's all we're doing. We're just being positive.
That sounds great. Drew, you had some emails you wanted to talk about tonight. Like, what's going on with these emails? I mean, I was going to get into jury selection, but I could see where maybe people want to talk about something else first, or whatever you got on your mind. It's your show.
Do you want to because these are pretty lengthy emails, which I will read. You can read one if you want. I just think that we were a big hit when we read Sarah Boone's emails, because they were a blast. I want to also make sure that everybody understands we are not making light of this for the purpose of exploitation. And I understand the gravity of this. There's a man that's been taken from us, a brilliant man at that.
And a father.
Over stupid stuff. A father to two wonderful children that don't even get to see their other grandparents now.
But murderers should be mocked. I do believe that in my heart.
Right. So this is what we're mocking. We're not. Look, I God rest Dan Markel's soul, and I think this is a horrible tragedy, and there's just so much more. This goes into the whole, it takes $6 to $8 million for a murder conviction, and we have four murder convictions so far in this case. We're shooting for 5 here. That's how much it costs. When you think about the old man next door that made the 911 call, like his trauma and treatment, just everything in totality, like they wrote a 6 million. I can show you the empirical data that says that. So how about this? Let's put just this one from May 13th up on the screen.
I think you should read that, because my computer's actually really far away from me, and I just got a headache trying to read that.
Okay. this is all we're trying to show is that you're not going to ever tell me that Donna Adelson was not controlling.
Is this about where she refers to him as gibbers and even mentions
Yeah.
dressing up the kids as little brown shirts?
That's next. That's the next one. But
all right, go for it.
So if you would turn the page when it's appropriate, or I'll give you I'll tug my ear. Okay, it says, "Dear Wendy, just saw this email this morning. Obviously, his 23-page rant was insufficient, so he's trying to push the court to deny hearing your petition. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if to prevent any action, your attorney must respond or not. Only you and she know that. However, gibbers, that's what they call the deceased Dan Martell."
By the way, could someone explain that to me? Unless it's sexual, in which case I don't want to know. Put it in the chat and tell me what gibbers is, because I have no idea.
I believe Wendy put him in her phone as gibbers because everything he says is gibberish.
Okay, I'm glad it's not sexual.
No. Well, I mean, however, gibbers has made his full divorce a full-time job to attempt to get what he's always gotten his way. His job allows for lots of time to put into for him to put into his project. And you know as well as I do that all the research he's done on different cases and case law to prove his point is his research, not his attorney's. No matter who did it, he's quoting 13 cases to show why the court should basically throw out your petition. Is Kristen answering this? That's her attorney. Does it require an answer to make sure that this is not seen by the courts as ignoring his rights? I don't know. You need to find out. This is all underlined. Like that part is all underlined. And by the way, so the dude he researched his own case law. He saved a ton of money doing that. Like, so what? Okay. Next paragraph. The important part of your divorce is, in bold, relocation. All right. So let's just to put it in perspective, John. She's saying the important part of your divorce, you're married to this guy, you have children in common. We want to make sure as your parents that you're able to bring your grandchildren and you move to where we are. And don't, like the father of the children, he doesn't really have a say in this. He's just being a horse's ass, is basically what she's saying. I don't think I'm being dramatic when I say that. I mean, is that the way you're interpreting it?
That's how it sounds to me, but I mean, with so much underlining going on, it's hard to tell.
I sincerely hope your attorney understands this is your non-negotiable, all caps. Lots of things are negotiable. That's the one thing you cannot let her think, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children with a close-knit family support system, as well as your significantly better paying job with hours much more flexible than your current job, so that you can spend significantly more time with the children, which requires teaching hours, office hours, court appearances, meetings with med school people, and multiple trips away from home. Those trips need to be coordinated with a very angry man who will not be cooperative with you in this regard. For example, this past weekend, you had your annual conference for blank at the same time his regular NYU crap was taking place. He didn't say, oh, I go to NYU every month and this is your annual meeting. I'll stay with the children and you go. Of course not. Danny thinks he's a very important person and as always, and he needs, and his needs come first. So, underlined, without your parents as backup, one of you would have to stay home with the children. Your attorney needs to understand that your mother worked full-time in the family's dental practice until September, when she felt she was needed by you for the well-being of the children to get them through a transitional time with the people who love them and see them frequently and with whom they share great affection. Your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient schedules around so he can continue to spend the significant time with the children. Both the disappearance of your mother from the position of office manager and the disappearance of your father from the practice for a significant amount of time has caused a decrease in the practice income and the loss of some patients who feel that it's either not being run the same way as when my mother was there full time, or that my father is unable to see patients with problems and has referred them to other officers during his absences. Additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased the practice from my father in mid-July 2012. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the sale of the practice, and it isn't fair for him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. My brother is unmarried and is a wonderful uncle to Benjamin and Lincoln. I am unable to relocate to South Florida. They will have an incredibly warm and loving family as an integral part of their lives, not an occasional 2-day weekend trip visit. All of this she is typing as if she's talking to Wendy's attorney as her, but is telling her, this is what you need to tell your attorney. Wendy at this point is a mother of 2. She's been married and divorced. She was a law professor, presumably over the age of 18. And this is how controlling she is. This is how manipulative and controlling that she is. We haven't even hit the big parts of this, John. Are you where are you at with this?
I'm able to change slides if you want. I'm running so much over here. I'm running the chat. I'm changing the things. You just keep going, bud.
This is a no fault. So she says response, brief background. Like, she's written the brief. She just criticized Dan for doing his own case research. She's now writing the brief, not even for the attorney, but on behalf of her daughter, who is an attorney, who she needs to deliver this information to her attorney. This is a no-fault divorce state, so his nonsense about marital infidelity or abuse doesn't matter. However, a hot temper and verbal abuse.
Well, now hold on. That's not legally sound. There's such a thing as a no-fault divorce if both people seek that, but you can also seek damages in a divorce in the case of infidelity, and that's huge for custody, isn't it? I know that you're a divorce detective.
No, I'm not a divorce detective.
Oh, you're just a divorce detective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Judge Everett in my ear. Is that somewhere on my thing, or is that somewhere?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. I don't know.
Okay. Why don't you flapjack for a little bit? I'll try to find out.
I'll flapjack for a little bit. So which paragraph were you on? Were you on the same front slide?
I'm on the one. It's 2 of 5, and it says brief background. I was about halfway down.
Okay, I'll try to read this, everybody. I have to lean in real far while Drew tries to figure shit out.
I figured it out.
Oh, he figured his shit out. Thank God I don't have to do anything.
Well, you can do something if you want.
Well, I guess I just wanted to say, like, they're saying that it doesn't matter if there's infidelity in a no-fault divorce state. It doesn't. That both parties can seek, irreconcilable differences and have no-fault divorce if they both want that. But one party can claim damages. They can claim. I think alienation of affection might be a civil thing, but I mean that can come into it too. But infidelity and harm, like, that can cost you the custody of your children. Is she telling Wendy that she needs to claim these things so as a way of leveraging Dan out of her life? The thing is she would have to prove that. That's why people hire private investigators.
Well, I mean, it's just the minimization also of, like, look, infidelity or abuse doesn't matter. No marital infidelity or abuse doesn't matter. However, a hot temper and verbal abuse, now that matters. You know what I mean?
But how are you going to document that, though? Like,
well, that's kind of my point. Like, she's saying whatever you did is fine. Like, he can't use that against you, but he, infidelity, this and
well, I mean, she's kind of got a point that, I mean, a lot of joy. I don't know what Florida's like because I've never gotten divorced there. Hopefully someday, But
Yeah.
but a lot of judges in some states, it's almost statutory where they kind of favor the mom unless they have some kind of clear and convincing evidence to not do so, right?
Well, uh, in a sense, yes, they will favor the birth mother, but the goal of the state, believe it or not, is to keep the family together, to keep the family intact.
I would know. I've had many failed divorces where the divorces were not granted, and I was compelled against my will to remain married for many years.
All right. So he says narcissistic personality. She says narcissistic personality disorder causes major problems in a marriage, especially when one believes that because he attended Harvard undergrad and Harvard law, he's clearly better and smarter than anyone else, including you. Only an idiot like him would write that. Would write that he should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health, education, and religion of his children. Clearly, no one, including you, is as smart as he is in those regards. The money you moved into an account for you was exactly half to the penny of the joint account, which is marital assets. The furniture you took was the bare minimum, a bed for you to sleep on from the guest bedroom, one nightstand, your dresser. You took 2 chairs that you bought 5 years ago at a neighborhood furniture store's closeout sale for $50 each. You have receipts to show all the new furniture you purchased to relocate to a safe place. You absolutely must emphasize that the only reason you left when he was out of town is because of the threat, quote, you'll leave without your children, without a penny, and just with the clothes on your back, end quote. It's super important for the judge to get the message that this guy is a big bully. I know she'll be able to read that when you submit the copies of some of these emails he sent you. He feels if he said something, that's it. Well, it's not. He says that you did this while he was on a short business trip. How about how many trips to conferences, etc., this man has taken? How much time away from his family? You have all those documented. Like, who is documenting that? Like, who's keeping that?
Every time he flies away, I mean, I guess you could like get like the plane tickets or something, but does she literally have a dad's a bad dad journal? Like, yeah, he's gone off to NYU again for a conference. And not only that, but it's like it's all in how you spin it, because if Dan was alive to defend himself in court, he's just like, yeah, I'm a high functioning person with like a job and I have to travel sometimes, but it doesn't mean I'm not a good father to my son. It just goes to show you that she'll hit below the belt to say anything about him. In some sense, it doesn't matter what kind of father Dan is, good or bad, and of course it matters to those boys, but it's like she's going to take anything and use it against him. And you know what, we have to stop and go back up to 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is she this involved in it? I mean, I get that every mom is a confidant or whatever, but Wendy takes it so personally. A good mother would be like, I understand that Dan's stressing you out. Remember, he's the father of your children. This is going to really be a long-term thing no matter what. You're going to have to co-parent. The boys are going to want to know about his father. Like, find a way to make it work. Like,
right.
You've had your differences, but like the best thing really is peace. She's got really this win at all cost mentality, and it's not even her kids. Why is she that involved in it? And I think it's just her personality. I think that she's she's been described by Wendy as being a little controlling, which of course Wendy will say any bad thing about Donna to save herself at this point, but she's just definitely one of those way over involved moms, and she's a little bit way too passionate about what's happening, I think.
Yeah.
Tell me in the chats if I'm wrong. If you think that a husband and wife getting a divorce, that the mother-in-law should be writing emails that are so long that they hurt my eyes to read.
No, you're dead right. Like it's like it should be kind of like hey, look, I support you. I know this is a very tough time for you. Ultimately, the decision is yours. Here's a couple things to think about, but if you want to talk about them, we can. A lot of times too, it would be more like, hey, how about you mind your own business? Like, just chill out a little bit.
It's hard for me to know because I don't tell my mom anything, but so I don't always know the exact right response. But it's just she seems to just be really, really, really taking it way too personally. And I know that and you almost have to second guess it at this point, because you would say, well, she loves those boys, so she doesn't want her grandsons to suffer. She was willing to fly to Vietnam and never see them again. But I mean, just throwing that in there.
It's she loves the boys. It's that she wants to be able to control those boys. She wants to have total control over them. So she wants them near her. Like
I think it is a control thing. You're right. And thank you to Summer Breeze, who affirms me that Donna was way too involved in the divorce proceedings.
Yeah.
And Route Irish says it's none of her business. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Summer Breeze makes me feel fine. How about this? He talks about not knowing where the children were through an incorrect address for the first 6 weeks. Let the court know that although he was never particularly interested in the children prior to the divorce, he was advised to keep a diary and to make sure that he shows his interest now. You arranged to meet him the very next day with Alan and Lynn Grossman, mutual friends, and the children at a local yogurt shop so that he could see the children were fine. You were in fear of his temper, and so you did not want to reveal your address. However, 4 days after the separation, you arranged to bring the children to his house as his parents were going to be in town, and they were there for Rosh Hashanah holiday with them. The following week, one of his uninvited treks to your office after he threatened you with federal kidnapping charges, which
that comes into play in every custody dispute.
Yeah.
I take so many 911 calls every single day.
Yes.
They kidnapped them. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but how did that go down? Well, I met up with them at Walmart and put the kids in their van and they drove away with them. Okay.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. He's supposed to have them back by now, and they're nowhere
exactly.
to be found. It happens all the time, like way more than you think.
Mm-hmm.
So he says you took non-marital assets. What? He says the children were 3 and 1 at the time this took place. Ben was 3 and Lincoln was 23 months.
I think the children are very marital assets. I just found out how that works.
What's that?
Nothing, Drew. I just made a horrible joke.
Listen to how she beats, unintentionally maybe beats Wendy down in this sentence. He talks about you both being well-paid professors with stable jobs. Yours is not a tenure track job. And with the economy as it is, there is no guarantee it'll be there in the future.
Oh, so she's like, is she trying to push her to get alimony, like by beating her down? I hate that when she says it's not tenure track. That's very mean.
It's very, very mean because because Wendy's, in her book is all about how Dan just minimized her and, just kept her down. And
she's getting that from all sides, but everyone that kept her down to jail now. So
right.
Who's the real winner?
It's like, yeah, he's making the stupid argument that you're both tenured professors with great paying jobs. I say, phooey, you're not a real professor.
Do you think Wendy has, and I hate to psychologize too much because I don't get paid enough to do that, but despite Michael Hendricks dropping $10 in the chat,
thank you, buddy.
Do you think Wendy has some kind of pent-up aggression or something that she lost in the past, and she's still married to Harvey, so that can't be it? But do you think somebody was hard on her or disapproving of her, or like she's projecting her insecurity or bullying Wendy, or that she needs, Donna really comes across as having soccer mom vibes right now. The team loses the game, and instead of saying you tried hard or I hope you had fun or we're getting ice cream anyway, she's really, really slamming Wendy on how this is the price of missing practice and all this. She just has that totally disappointed soccer mom vibe. Am I wrong on that?
No, listen, I don't want to take it too deep or get too far off the true crime course, but that. With our roots in 911 dispatchers and cops and PTSD, and I do a lot of research, reading, and attending of lectures about trauma. Believe it or not, it's not like a fun hobby, but
trauma lectures are my fun hobby.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're so. But if you listen to the likes of like Gabor Mate, or if you read the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Van der Kolk. It describes that you get this like it's in your DNA. This like traumatic experience is passed down from your family, from your parents, and these are like descendants of Holocaust, survivors or victims, one or the other.
Mhm.
So naturally, there is a bit of control, or there's a bit of I don't want to talk too far out of school here, but naturally there is going to be a bit of anxiety, control, and all this other stuff. But if you're unable to recognize it, and the people around you are telling you that, like, look, this is a little over the line here. You're just, this is beyond a helicopter parent. This is somebody who's writing the brief, and you're an attorney, and you're supposed to give this. You make sure you let her know that he said this, and like, that's over the line. That's way over the line. Like, hey, I hear you. Chill out. And what that caused was, okay, well then we're going to handle it in our own way. And that's why I think these are so important. I think these emails are so important because they show complete control.
They also show like a wolf pack mentality. Like, it's not Wendy's problem, but it's the Adelson family's problem, and the Adelson family is not going to take this lying down. Do you see how it's like, again, not to over psychologize, but now it's like it's a group ego. It's not what's happening to Wendy, it's what's happening to all the Adelsons. And I think that's a very strange thing.
And she's the head of the snake. I mean, not even to make it like them villainous, but she's the head of the snake. So
we can make them. The whole family cooked up a death plan for Dan Markel. I think we could make them.
Get it? I'm just saying, like in the example I'm using, because think of it too, like, what about the Markel family? Just because they live in Toronto, like, that automatically dismisses them from being in the running of, like, what if Dan?
It's hard to see Canadians as human, to be honest with you. I mean, I struggle with that too.
It's the hockey. But what if Dan at some point just wanted, and I'm sure he's made this point, like, what if I wanted to just up and move and head back home to Toronto? Like, what would be wrong with that?
I knew that he wanted to visit Israel, and he wanted to go home to Canada. And so not only was Tallahassee too far north, but they wanted to go even further north. And I'm sure that's what, having that lack of control and the idea of the kids being away, if they get divorced and they're off with Dan, whether it's in Israel, Canada, or Tallahassee or whatever, I'm sure that's definitely the seed that's stuck in their craw.
Well, it's also it's outside the country situation. So when you're dealing in custody, because you don't want if you're taking those kids outside the country and passports are involved.
Is there an extradition treaty between us and Canada? Just checking.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, that shows her awareness. She knows, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like boarding a plane to Vietnam or something.
She knows all about it. Yeah.
So on your, like, it said your job also pays you half of what his job pays. So on your own, it's not feasible to continue to live even in the home you are currently renting. You have borrowed a considerable amount of money from your parents and must repay it for furniture, legal fees, moving expenses, etc. My parents have paid all grocery bills up to this point, for which I will have to reimburse them. I do not want to dip into the money from our marital account, as that will have to go towards supporting my children for their future. So what about their present? Who's buying the Pop-Tarts? Like, shouldn't that come out of the marital money? Like, if they're with Dan and he needs to buy them Honey Nut Cheerios.
Kids never come first, though. Kids are always pawns all the time. And it's the one who loves the least that has the most power. And who's seeking the most power here? The one who loves the least, which is Donna. Possibly Wendy.
I think this is I think some of this is like the smoking gun stuff. Mr. Markel has become a religious zealot over the past few years, since the birth of our first son, taking him to synagogue with him as an infant so that he can absorb the music and the prayers.
Didn't Wendy and Dan meet on JDate? I'm sorry, but that's a dating app for Jewish people. So how could you be mad about the religious stuff?
I'm aware.
There's a right amount to be Jewish, but you can't be too Jewish because otherwise that's bad.
By the way, Donna had a hand in that. Donna had
she was running the app. She was uploading the photos. She was going on the dates. Danny said, "You look a little bit older." And she's like, "Well, that photo was from a long time ago."
at Matsui or whatever the hell the name is. They only have 2 restaurants there. But check this out. He has done the same with our second son. This is also to show the congregation what an attentive father he is. The fact remains that the children are watched by teenage children of other congregants in a sort of playroom while the services are going on. I can tell you, I did security. Like, for those of you who don't know, if you're in a synagogue, they can't hire people of the Jewish faith to work when they're worshiping. So they used to hire people from the criminal intelligence unit because we were in plain clothes and we do dignitary protection basically.
And you're free on Saturday night.
Yep. So we would handle the security at these events, either at the Jewish Community Center and it was like we were paid. It was an off-duty gig for us, but like they can hire out certain things like that, but they can't, nobody that's Jewish can work during Sabbath or whatever. So
right.
I saw firsthand, like most parents drop their kids off and most of the time it's just like Sunday school. She's making this into a big deal. Like when you go to church, very often you'll drop your children off in the playroom. They're not going to sit there and listen about the Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, like,
especially since that's New Testament. They're definitely not going to hear about that one.
Right. I mean, like
Garden of Eden.
He's reading from the Torah, and you expect your 24-month-old kid to just kind of take it in. So what she's complaining about is that he brings them in during the prayers and the hymns so they can absorb the holiness of the whole thing, but he shuffles them back off to a teenage. You mean like everybody else at Temple Kol Ami or wherever they are going? That's Shalom, whatever. That's what everybody does, and it's like it's a virtuous thing. Actually, it's a good thing that they're bringing their children up in this religion. So
I hope those kids don't get too close to God. That would be bad.
Yeah,
you can't allow that.
Yep. So check this out though, because she takes it way too far. Mr. Markell picks one of them up to come back out at certain parts of the service to hear particular hymns and then returns them to the care of babysitters. This is done rather than allowing them to remain home with me. When I protested, he insisted. He always gets his way. There are no Hebrew day schools in Tallahassee. Mr. Markell seems intent upon religious training, but feels that only he can provide the best religious training for our children. He's indoctrinating them, not teaching them.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because it went both ways. Because one of Dan's problems with Donna is that, and all fathers who have custody problems have this issue. When mom has to work, when mom is at a nail appointment, when mom's doing something, she has grandma watch the kids.
Yeah.
Dad's like, why are you having someone babysit my sons? I'm available. Just be an adult and call or text me and I'll come watch them for an hour. Just because we have split custody doesn't mean I can't come watch my son. And especially when grandma Donna is saying all these horrible things about me all the time, I'm free. I could skip the gym. I can come watch my sons. That before he was offed, that was one of the things that he was trying to do, was trying to restrict Donna's access to the kids because she was indoctrinating them against him. So it's the old thing of accuse your enemy of whatever of which you're guilty. Both of them can lay legitimate claims that the children were pawns and they were being used against each other, which is the case in all terrible divorces.
Just a quick answer to Root Irish in there. I don't want to get into a lot of detail because there might be some friendly ears and eyes watching. I'm giving that the thumbs up, and you'll know what I mean. And then also, I'm saying Michael Hendricks here says that Hebrew is the name of his testosterone-laced coffee. And I would think your marketing plan would be, what you doing today, guys? Havna, Hebrew.
Skipping these past terrible jokes, Wendy is hot, but no matter how hot she is overrated. We have had better looking women who have murdered people before. Like, I assume that's the category with which we're judging, right?
Not Sarah Boone.
No, Sarah Boone's down there, but I mean, there's also two Sarah Boones. There's the sober Sarah Boone, but just immediately post incarceration that still kind of looked okay.
Bloated.
Then yeah, she turned a bit more bloated. Did you want us to maybe see if since there's so many people watching, if you want to take a phone call, if you want to talk to me or Drew live?
Oh yeah,
The
please.
number's at the bottom of your screen. You can call 757-231-6916. That's 757-231-6916. That's my actual phone number. You can call me. You can talk to Drew. And it doesn't have to be about these emails. If you have theories, if you want to talk about Wendy's involvement, you can talk about anything. Drew, you can use the bathroom, and you can email me the second email so that I can read it if you want to take a break. But I can read it if you email it to me, Drew, or if you put it in the drive.
Okay, I'll do that. How about this? Just let me just read this last sentence.
Read the last part, and we'll take some phone calls.
Yes, we need to do that. So it says, I lost my place anyway. Let's just take the phone calls. Basically, what she's saying is, like, Broward, Palm Beach, all these places down there, there are Hebrew schools all over the place. Therefore, we should win out because there are no Hebrew schools in Tallahassee. I'll send you the other one.
Almost like if what Dan really wanted was best for the children, he would definitely agree to having them move south because that's where all the good Hebrew schools are. Is that what she's saying?
Yes. In the last paragraph, I'm too angry to write anymore. I'm going to shower, wash my hair, and get ready for you and the boys to come home. Dad said he'd look up any papers tonight or over the weekend that you may need. He even has the info on what Danny had in his IRA and 401k prior to marriage. Love you, Mom.
I'm too angry to write anymore. It's amazing. If you guys want to give us a call, go ahead, do that. Dial us 757-231-6916. Nice. Drew, you could go ahead and send that to me. Otherwise, what I could do just to give you a little bit of a break, because that's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
I did want to talk a little bit of jury selection today that started. I think the jury selection is so interesting, and I get it that I'm a court nerd. Maybe not a lot of people are, because they say that the case is won or lost with the jury. I know that Charlie definitely blames the jury for losing his case. He would get on the phone and actually make these fairly racist rants about how a black guy from Tallahassee is not really his peer and is someone who shouldn't be having judgment in him. We've got one of the people in the chats on the phone. We'll go ahead and put you on the phone call. Can you hear me? Oh, he hung up. That's okay. I'll call him right back. But anyway, he was saying that that he should not be getting judged by this guy from Tallahassee. This guy, interestingly, one of the people that was on Charlie's trial jury was a retired Army veteran who also worked in the post office. And I heard someone today was possibly going to be impaneled for Donna. I don't know if that person made it on or not.
John,
you're a lawyer, aren't you?
Oh, he's not allowed to say that.
But he's my lawyer, so he can say it and we can have confidentiality. Folks, we have a legitimate attorney on the phone. I don't know if he's a divorce detective or not, but how are you doing, bud?
No. Good, man. I can pretend to be if you guys want. I would say in furtherance of my own divorce, I would kick Wendy out of bed for eating crack.
Yeah.
That would be my professional opinion.
Okay. Meatloaf.
And I mean, I am taking investors for my Hebrew coffee company, and Drew, with you being in Florida, it seems like an excellent market. I mean, this could be a good opportunity to get in at the ground level.
You drink coffee when it's hot. Look at this man, by the way. He both him and Donald Trump, clearly orange from the sun, just being in Florida.
I'm Hebrew.
There you go. There you go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to call you Father Drew anymore.
Michael, what are your other takes? What do you have for Drew, or what are your questions, concerns, issues? I mean, if you just want to talk about how hot Wendy is, that's fine. But I'll probably just take a little nap.
That was the most relevant part of the call. I guess my question for you guys would be, what exactly is going on? Because I showed up about 10 minutes ago, so I'm really out of the loop here. But I agree that Wendy is guilty. That's what I will say. Wendy is definitely guilty.
We've disagreed on a lot of stuff.
Do you think they're gonna? Do you think they're gonna? Let me ask you this, Michael, and I'm just coming up with this off the cuff. Do you think after
Mhm.
Donna and Harvey are sent to jail for the rest of their natural lives, do you think a police officer will jump out of a cake and arrest Wendy and say, "Ha, I gotcha. You're going to jail too"? Any chance of that?
Yeah, could be. Yeah, for perjury, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, for murder
And murder.
and murder.
I mean, but perjury is easier to prove. You know, it's the greater of the two.
What if they blended them and called them mergery?
Mergery would be a good option. Yeah, that actually is in the statutes here in Ohio, in the ORC.
Yeah. In the codes?
Along with I already forgot John's word. Psychologize. Yes, that one.
Did you
That's
email
cool.
that to me, Drew? Do I have that now?
I did.
Okay.
I think.
Did you put it in the drive?
Uh,
Oh, I see it. It's from Andrew Baxter. I
Oh.
usually have that just go straight to my spam.
email it? I sent it by snail mail.
Oh, I've got it. So you sent me the second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will be ready to read the second one whenever you want me to.
Well, let's talk a little bit about jury stuff.
Okay. Have you well, I've got you on the phone line, Mr. Lawyer Guy. You've
Mhm.
never tried a jury trial before because you're kind of scared, right?
You know what? I actually had my first almost trial just a month ago.
You
But
pled
I
out, right?
intimidated the judge and the prosecutor so much they just dropped the charges.
You pled
I
out, and
found-
your client's going to the chair.
Yeah, well,
You didn't
know,
even ask him to
it's
take
okay,
the death
though.
penalty off the table.
Civil case and it's
It's a civil.
It's amazing what $100 will do to a judge's ruling. You know, it's,
Oh
it's
my
really quite
goodness!
impressive.
Disbar this man.
I can't. You attain the first civil execution.
Litigation is terrible. Litigation is terrible for everybody involved, even the lawyers that are getting rich from it, because it sucks the life out of you.
Anybody here feel bad for lawyers? Go ahead and put a 1 in the chats if you feel bad for the lawyers who are, by the way, are being paid by the hour. And it's $75 an hour for a bad lawyer, by the way.
I'm not saying you should feel bad for them, but I will say that, hey, look, at my old firm, we had guys who would like run and were very fit and in their 40s. We literally had like 10 of them have stroke. So I think, and they were all litigators. So I think that's kind of a trend. So yeah, I try not to litigate anything because I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, the money could be good, especially if you're good at it.
Yeah,
and it's typically like a gajillion hours. So
do you have any insight on jurors on voir dire juror selection though? Like, what did they teach you when you're going to law school? Any pro tips or?
You know, they give you such a bare minimum there. I mean, we know the legalities of it. We don't get a lot of the tips and tricks. You learn that from some mentor when you're out. But I mean, honestly, all joking aside, the best thing that people do is they do kind of a mock jury. They hire them. There's companies out there that do it, and they hire people who are willing to pretend to be jurors, and they're just
sounds like
average Joe schmoes. Yeah, I think it actually would be. And then you go in and you hear a case, but it would be problematic because you guys use logic and are like intelligent, and so you got to like really get somebody that's a good cross section of the jury pool in that area.
I heard there's a lot of people who I'm pretty sure made the final cut, but I thought there was a surprising number of people who had like law enforcement in their family, and I felt like those are the people that usually get the preemptory challenge or the black ball.
You know, and what's funny is we did hear this in law school that jurors lawyers are almost never called as jurors. Like you will get booted, and I think
is that why you got into it, by the way? Because we obviously didn't get into practice law.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still practicing. I mean, I've been doing it 18 years. I'm not good enough at it to not say I'm practicing.
Believe me, practicing is all I'm doing. I'm not actually lawyering at all. But I can see how you only became a lawyer as a cheap dodge and a scam, like most lawyers. But I mean, you're kind of doing it a different way.
He did it for the suits, so he
just did it for the suits, and so that you could say Esquire a lot.
Barrister.
Yeah, Esquire. Yeah, and I subscribe I subscribe to the magazine.
Yes,
I
and,
didn't
and
realize
it, and it doesn't
have
cost
anything to
you
do
as
with
much as
lawyering.
it costs people like me. I have to pay the non-lawyer fee for that fine magazine.
Right. Yeah, it's it was a very creative way. I mean, the alternative to just always getting out of jury duty is to join kind of like a cult or like an anti-government organization, and that seemed like a lot of work. So
That's a lot of fun. But let me ask you this: do you think, as someone who has kind of halfway tried a case and then kind of chickened and settled out of court, how much do you think is already won or lost before even opening statements with just the jury impaneled? Obviously you win some, you lose some in terms of who you can get and who you can't keep or whatever. Do you think the cases are often won and lost on that, or do you think that any good attorney can make a case to even the most adversarial jury?
I actually think any good attorney can.
Do you think you could?
The litigators that I worked with, no. The litigators that I worked with. So I do a lot of, as you guys may or may not recall, patents, trademarks, copyrights. So there's kind of the side where you're getting people patents, trademarks, and copyrights. That's what I did. And then there's the side that litigates them. And some attorneys do both. Like my partner right now, he does both. I try not to because it's just runs your life. He's got grown-up kids. He can do it. But he could 100% make a case, given the worst facts you've ever seen. The guy's amazing. And I think a lot of good litigators are like that. Whether it's for a murder trial or a corporate contract issue, I mean, just litigators are litigators and they're good at it. So yeah, you're definitely, if you have a terrible jury that's impassionate about something like, let's say it's a racial issue or something like that, where people are very passionate about it one way or the other, that's a hard hill to overcome. But if you don't have that element to it, then I would say any attorney has the opportunity to sway a jury.
Now, I know you're a patent lawyer. Do you play the race card a lot?
I do, yeah. I identify as a female minority. I did that at my old firm when we went really high DEI, really heavy, and so they couldn't fire me. No, I'm joking. That's terrible.
Whatever.
No,
man's got to eat, even if he's a woman.
It's not something that comes up very often in my career.
I could understand that. Well, I really appreciate you calling in.
We deal with a lot of nerds.
We did get a call from France, and it would be our most international call ever. And
definitely call France.
I'm a big fan of the toast and of the limited help that they gave us in our own revolution. So I would love to talk to Pascaline if she will call in.
Calling he who shall not be identified.
Yes, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say your name or not, Michael. So thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate
it. It's always good. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for all your support, by the way. I appreciate you. Thanks for helping us out when we're live. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Likewise. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Talk to you later. Butterqueen says, how do I make sure I get on a jury so I can play true crime and get time off of work? I only know how to get off of a jury because, like, when I was on jury duty, 2 years ago, I kept saying that I thought that the death penalty should be in play for every single case, and I hated every single race. So, to our caller in France, I know that you probably stayed up really late or actually got up, and so I definitely want to field your call. So I don't think I'm able to call you back, but you just tried calling me again just now. I'm going to try calling you. There's like a weird country code, so I've never done this before.
You don't have enough credit to make this call.
I don't have enough credit to make this call. Please try calling me again. I'm looking at it now. You can call in. I swear, third time's the charm. I will take your call now. So please go ahead, Pascaline, call in. And by the way, here we go. I'm talking to France now. And I have to hit 1 to accept. All right. Hello, you're on the line with the Comm Center. Bonjour. I'm sorry, I said that already. Go ahead. Hello. I think the call's gone. I don't think we could sustain it from France. You could try again, but it wasn't working for whatever reason. It's possibly because you're just too far away. I'm not sure.
And we don't have
Anyway,
enough.
I didn't have enough credit, but anybody can call in if you are interested in talking to the Comm Center. If you want to talk to veteran detective, who, by the way, totally did retire. He did not get forced out at the last second. He did make detective on his last day.
Right.
Call from.
Here we go. We're talking. We're going to try
You
it
hear
again.
me?
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Pascaline from France.
Hi.
Thank you for calling. Merci, merci.
Hello.
Poor.
Hello.
Did you want to talk to us?
Yes, of course.
Okay. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that I get no subtitles, so you have to speak slow, please. Because there's no subtitles, and sometimes I can't even understand what you are saying. But I just want to say I'm very, very lucky to subscribe to your channel because you talk like anyone talks, and that's what I love. But anyway, I'm gonna not agree about Anna Payne because my culture is different.
Okay.
So about Donna, I'm very impatient to see the trial because I'm not sure she's gonna be convicted.
Interesting.
yeah, because you guys are very good when you want to build a story at your trial, and defense can build a story. It's possible because reasonable doubt is so a high standard that the defense can reach a reasonable doubt. I'm afraid of it.
I think that's a very astute observation because the media is probably responsible for the reasonable doubt in a few very high profile cases very recently. I think that I think that we rely a little bit too much on what people on YouTube or what people with agendas in the newspaper or trying to sell ads on and you can definitely build reasonable doubt. You make a great point.
Because in France we have third parties. We got the defense. We got what we call the procureur, which is a state, and you got the attorneys for the civil part. Because both civil and penal are in the same trial. So you have the three people who are not balancing between what is wrong, what is right, what is real, what is unreal. So the standard, I feel the standard beyond a reasonable doubt is too high because there is always a reasonable doubt. You got so many people in jail beyond a reasonable doubt that are not guilty. So the standard is so high that the defense can play on it. That's my opinion as a French people. Sorry about that.
Don't apologize, but thank you for calling in. The thing is, and I'll let you go. So I appreciate you calling in. The thing is about reasonable doubt is that the different attorneys will try to sell reasonable doubt as different things. A defense attorney is going to sell reasonable doubt as this unattainable standard. As there's always some kind of doubt, or follow your heart, or they'll always kind of try to paint it as what today we saw it during jury selection. What does the state have this figured out? That was a question they asked to the jurors. Do you think the state knows what happened? And that's a question about reasonable doubt, because they want to plant early in the minds of the jurors as to whether or not anyone can really know anything. And they want the jurors to go straight to this total moral equivocation of that no one can really know anything. No one can really understand anything. Some modicum of doubt is reasonable doubt. And it's the job of the prosecutor to say, you know, there's always going to be some mathematical margin of doubt, but you have to have you have to have your conscience convicted, and it's just, and it can be very simple. Today when she was talking to the jurors, she said, if we left this courthouse and you looked outside and you looked on the sidewalk and you saw that it was wet, would you assume that it was reasonable to believe that a fire truck drove by and washed down the sidewalks? Of course not. It was just, it's as simple as it rained. So can you just use common sense? Can you look at a situation? And that's what reasonable doubt is. But thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad.
Pascal,
I'm so glad to hear you guys. Thank you very much.
Let me leave you with this. Je m'appelle Andrew Baxter et je suis un Américain.
Très bien, très bon français. Très bon français.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye. Bye,
Yep.
guys.
Have a
Bye.
good day. That was very nice. That was our most international call ever, and I know that we've taken one from Australia. But Drew, I do have that second email queued up. If you wanted me to
Go for it.
do
If
that.
you want to talk about the jury, either or.
Let's do the other email, because just even the course of that phone call, we talked about jury selection a little bit, and we talked about it with the lawyer Michael. Here's the second email. This was sent on Tuesday, June 25th, 2013. So a long time ago. This is, of course, an email from donnaharvey@gmail.com to Wendy. Which, by the way, go ahead and email that. See what happens. Hi, honey. Okay, it's just like it says on your necklace. Never, never, never give up. I'm pretty sure those are the words of Winston Churchill, but we have just ascribed it to a necklace, so that's fine. Take that, Winston Churchill. It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let Jibbers think he's just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee. 8 hours away from the only family you have, and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages they will never otherwise be able to enjoy. That's right, folks. Only Southern Miami has the things that the children will truly care about and be able to enjoy. Tallahassee, a hellhole for children.
Yes.
Let's show this fucker, which, by the way, this has been, I don't know if she redacted that herself, like if she didn't have the heart to say fucker, or if maybe this has been redacted by someone else. Let's show this effer what will make him absolutely miserable. You know his weak points: money, religion, control. Are those possibly your weak points, Donna? I just wonder. You have 5 weeks before your court date. All of this underlined. I'm surprised she even bolds and underlines later. So I don't mean to oversell things, because things are about to get very intense. I know you have a job that keeps you very busy. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's minds, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform ACT before July 31st. So settle your divorce for the whole team. We're all counting on you. This divorce is a team sport. You could be a good actress when you want to. That's kind of a huge line right there. You could be a good actress when you want to.
That's true.
I'm not sure that anyone else believes that right now about Wendy. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet.
Oh.
It's 10-14 at halftime, apparently, according to Donna. If you have a very strong family behind you, just remember that. Dad and I have done everything we could to try to help you for the last 10 months. You think Donna maybe feels like she's a little bit entitled to something here with all the help that she's given Wendy? Now it's time for you to help yourself. We believe that you will be able to make this happen. If you could put these actions before everything else next month, and you know what, you've only got the kids a limited number of days to do this, we believe that Jibbers will be saying, stop this, and you'll be telling him, you wanted me in Tallahassee. My children are going to fit in his Bible Belt. I think this is where some of the real nastiness comes in. They're going to church every time I have them. I'm having them privately tutored at home to get them caught up for Sunday school classes. Folks, Jewish people do not go to church on Sunday. That I've been registering them in for the fall. The class time coincides with the service I'll be attending. Tell him that you've got a new outlook on life and a new hope, and you'd like the boys to go to heaven. This is kind of a gut punch because insofar as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that in the Jewish faith, I don't believe that there's a real belief in heaven and hell like the way that the Christians understand it. So telling that the boys are going to heaven is at once a condemnation of the Jewish faith, and it's also telling Dan that he's going to hell. Perhaps he would like to join you and the boys at church. 1, plan of action. I like how, like, by the way, these personal emails are set out like a business plan. Number 1, take photos of the property. No, I'm just kidding. Take photos of the boys dressed nicely, standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. By the way, you have to be very careful when you do this because, like, if they just take it to like First Presbyterian, like they have one of those on every corner. So you have to take them to First Tallahassee Presbyterian Church, and just to get the picture. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so that everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New beginnings in Tallahassee" might be nice. Within minutes, Jibber should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends and acquaintances about this. How happy do you think he will be? Plan part 2. This is almost a sitcom where people get together and they plan a scheme.
Yeah.
I'm known for my schemes, but they're usually in about 1 or 2 steps. Go ahead, Drew.
Someone call that a conspiracy.
It's kind of conspiratorial. I mean, there's actually 5 steps here, and I'm pretty sure they killed Kennedy in only 4. So 2, make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, teenage Catholic church member, who will come to the house to teach the young men about Jesus. You know, using Jesus as a tool to spite someone has to be probably the lowest thing that I can conceive of. Attacking a man on this battlefield and exploiting the Son of God to hurt someone.
Oh wait, it gets better in her description of Jesus.
Sorry, I don't mean to get ahead of myself. It's just that I'm already appalled by how horrible she is. If you don't have time to arrange this, I will happily do it for you. She or he will serve as a good babysitter assistant for you while you're preparing dinner, etc. By the way, it's just the pursuit of all this as being a ploy and totally insincere. It's stomach turning. 3, let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Very frustrating. And you hope that the priest or whoever's involved in this, they're going to have to do a lot of lying to the priest to get him to do this. They're going to, you hope that priests don't do this willy nilly. I mean, when they're babies, like that's a thing, but like they're already a couple years old at this point. So they're hoping you hope that the priest is looking for some kind of confirmation. On the other hand, maybe they're just going to Vegas and getting a priest there. I don't know. And you'll certainly invite him to the event. Make him watch, in other words. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now and with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in the church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and apparently baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks.
God.
I've already checked this out. What did she do? Call around to all the churches, all the Catholic churches. Hey, I've got a couple of boys here who need baptized. How fast could we do it?
Oh, I am quite sure there was a donation attached to that. Like if we give X amount, would you be able to expedite a baptism?
I hate to think that the Catholic Church can be bought, but historically that has been true. We can send out evites to Jibbers, his parents, sister, and anyone else who wants to watch this horrible thing happen to the boys, which, again, I am not against Catholic baptism. It's just for anyone who just is joining us now, this is all a setup to hurt Dan. This is specifically designed. They're setting up a whole fake spiritual life to hurt Dan.
So baptism, like the purity of baptism, it's not just for the children. I mean, like what is it, the catechism or whatever it's
one of the big ones. It's a sacrament,
About this, like in the Baptist faith, when you're baptized, this is like transformational in the spiritual sense. So completely made this into it's beyond mockery. It's like it's sinister. It's beyond sinister. So if this doesn't show the lengths that she will go to, this kind of like, murder is a whole different story, I get, but this rivals. This comes close. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the most vindictive, like sending Evites to a Catholic baptism to the grandparents who have nothing to do with it, who are also Jewish. That's pretty sinister.
And to further frame this, there were some worries at Dan and Wendy's wedding that in order for there to be a proper Jewish wedding, you have to observe certain rites and traditions that I don't understand. I won't even pretend to understand. But I remember hearing about Dan being concerned that with the Adelsons going in there half-assed, to borrow a phrase, about their Jewish faith or not being Orthodox or whatever, that Dan was very worried that the rabbi or rabbis that he wanted to attend and perform the ceremony wouldn't attend or wouldn't take part in it, and that he would have what are in the eyes of his faith a sham wedding or something like that. And so this was something that was very, very important to him going way back. And of course, they know all this. That's why they're weaponizing his faith against him. And it's absolutely a terrible thing to do, even if you have no faith in God whatsoever, even if you're not down with Judaism or Catholicism or Protestantism or whatever, but to exploit faith as a weapon and to turn it and to use things, which, by the way, are serious, and to exploit them and to weaponize them and to engage in them insincerely is a very, very bad thing indeed. This is how you know that Donna probably doesn't really believe in anything, because I find it hard to believe that even the God of the Old Testament would really approve of this sort of thing.
You'll see how she justifies it in a second.
All right. So I'm looking into summer camps programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up going only a few days. So we're willing to pay for the whole thing just for the sham that we're in Tallahassee the days that you have them prior to the hearing. 5, register them for toddler classes at church. They've looked into this. And even if they don't go, we can show gibbers that they are enrolled in the fall semester. They're enrolled. And you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Somehow it will get back to gibbers. And I'm counting 5 exclamation points there. So in other words, she's saying, keep your trap shut about this plan. What does this sound like? You've got a multi-step plan in which Wendy needs to be a very good actress, and a vow of secrecy is also attached as a rider to the plan, possibly even a step 6. Do not tell anyone, otherwise it will get back. These guys, Donna is very, very good at planning intricate things. I can't believe this, but it actually says here that the Latin Kings will also be enrolled in the Sunday school. It's a surprising move, but good for the Latin Kings. Take control from him. Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. Wendy, you've been through a very difficult year. You've had to make a huge decision. You did that. It was the right decision. I assume she means the divorce. Now you have one final opportunity to make him angry. Again, why is this a reasonable objective? I get it. Divorces could be very bitter. They could be very awful. But a good grandmother should not be making this her objective. We want him ticked off so he realizes that he could lose control over the kids. We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we will offer him. So basically, they're trying to alter the price of the transaction. They're trying to sweeten the deal so it doesn't cost them so much money. In other words, Drew, do I read that right? I know that they wanted to offer him $1 million.
Yeah, and then they talk about that probably later in that email even. Yeah.
Maybe he'd be willing to let you relocate if he knew his children would attend a private Hebrew academy like Donna Klein in Boca. So let me get this straight. Danny, an intelligent person, a law school professor, sees that you're going to enroll the children in Catholic school, baptize them, and then you're going to make an offer and just throw in there as an added benefit that the children won't really be raised in the Catholic faith. But don't tell him, otherwise he might get wind that this is a secret scam. Just by mentioning that to him, he's going to realize, and Danny's probably going to realize this anyway, that the whole Catholicism thing is a sham. I mean, he's intelligent enough to know that this is just a pressure point for him. Anyway, so you need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we will offer him. Maybe he'd be willing to relocate, or perhaps he'd like to invite them to a Christmas party at the other Sunday school. Again, carrot and stick. We're going to offer him a carrot and a stick. We're going to give him the chance to take the money and let the boys be raised in a Hebrew school, or if they're going to stay here, or if they're going to stay in Tallahassee, they're going to be Catholic. You have a little over 3 weeks till mediation. Let's get going on this now. I know you would never want to think that you didn't do absolutely everything you could to try to come down to your family. Try to come down to your family? I'm not sure what that means.
Florida.
Oh, right. Yes. Because they're down south. Yeah. I just say south. I don't say down. Between living down here and having a job that will give your children the lifestyle they deserve, your life now and for sure in the future will be significantly better. Gary told us that he is not going to hire anyone until after your court hearing and after we try to make a financial offer to Jibbers. We don't want Danny to continue his religious influence over these children any more than he has already done. If he keeps this up, and they don't want you to eat in your non-kosher home, and if they see you don't want to attend their shul functions, you will be an outsider. As they get older and more involved under Jibber's religious influence, they will be able to request which parent they want to live with. So in other words, make it seem like they're that living with Wendy's, the fun religion. In other words, we get to eat shrimp at mom's house.
Yeah, not only that, she's planning for the next 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a decision not until they turn 18.
I think it varies by states. I think in some states, like, you could be 9 or 10, 11, 12, 13, and you can have more say over those things. But you're right, though, that, I mean, she is kind of scheming for long term. And this is something that parents do, too. Like, when mom and dad get divorced, which house has the disciplinarian in it? Which house has the fun house where rules are not strictly enforced? Like, you can have your Xbox nights, and both parents want to be the fun parent and have the other one be the bad guy parent, because children don't know what's best for them. They don't know that structure and discipline are what's going to help them be the best human beings. They just want to have fun and shrimp.
Yeah.
And frankly, so do I. In reality, he's going to have the same control over you. Dad and I have changed our lives this year to support you and assist you, the boys, in every possible way. You owe us this devious scheme.
Yeah,
Charlie.
That's like from the first email. This was entitlement from the get-go. Like, she's saying, look, we sacrificed our job. Your dad no longer accepts patients. Charlie's had to take a hit. He's taken a haircut on this thing because he has to pay your dad for the practice he bought, but he's got to limit the patients. And when we're away, he can't. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a flying fuck, lady? Like, you've got nothing to do with this. Like, stay out of it. Yeah. Just because you're like not benefiting financially because of your grandchildren not being down there. Nobody.
Why isn't this conversation about surrounding the children with as much warmth and love as possible during this difficult time?
Yeah, exactly.
Charlie's accepted the loss in the office business income for us to do this because he loves you. And he wants only the best possible future for you. Yeah, he's a real stand-up guy. It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks or years, as we are all eventually indicted. Please call us after you read this. We're waiting to talk to you. If you have any other ideas about how you could piss Danny off, now is a good time to do it and make this relocation happen. Please let us know. We sent this letter with love and with only the best of intentions from our iPad, Mom and Dad.
It's like, it's appalling.
It's truly terrible. She's a truly terrible human being that she wants to organize this entire sham, just in order to sweeten the deal, to get him to take the money. It's a pincher move. We're gonna influence him financially, and we're gonna influence him based off of his religion. And she said as much. She said, the ways that you can control him. Control over the boys, giving him more freedom with the boys to raise them in the faith of his choice. And then the other two, of course, were religion and money. I mean, she sat there and thought this out and came up with a whole scheme of how she was going to use religion and money to manipulate Danny out of walking away from fatherhood. And it's really horrible. And I think she's a pretty terrible grandma, but that really comes to the surprise of no one.
Yeah.
Did you want to get back to kind of some of the jury selection stuff? We're so close to 10,000 people. I can retire at 10,000. Please, if we get 10,000 subscribers, I can finally go home.
Yeah, Dana, his dog will get medicine, much needed medicine.
Dana will get much needed. My dog needs medicine.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would get to opening statements today, but we'll be doing that tomorrow.
Okay.
But let's talk about jury selection.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and play some of it. Did you want me to start with the defense attorney or with Georgia Kappelman, everyone's love and hero?
I am deeply fond of Georgia Kappelman. So
Okay.
either that's good news, bad news scenario for me. So
Okay. I'm going to play some of both. So for those of you that are still here at an hour and 25, first of all, thank you for watching the Comm Center. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so that I can retire. My dog can get the medicine she so desperately needs. If we get to 10,000, we'll live on the air. The dog will take my place on the show. So, but let's review some of the footage from earlier today.
What are undercover operations? Anybody know?
No one can see.
Volunteers? Just letting up here. Number one, undercover operations, like a law enforcement operation that's undercover. What does that mean?
When the people don't know that the cops are there trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, like the cops are posing as not cops.
Right.
Posing as someone else. So they're tricking somebody, right? Anybody uncomfortable with the idea that law enforcement is permitted legally to pose as somebody else and trick criminals to get information and to solve cases? Anybody feel uncomfortable with that? What do you think? 13.
I see the benefit of it. I think the technique in which it is executed is the one that catches my attention.
What do you mean?
So if somebody, it all depends on who it is that they're going after and the subject themselves, right? But if a law enforcement officer is posing as somebody in order to try to entrap people.
Yes. Okay. Entrapment would be crossing that line.
Who are not intending to commit a crime, I would have.
You know what's interesting about this? And I hate to keep kind of going back to my experience, but jury selection is kind of weird. It's kind of like the first day of school. Nobody knows each other. Nobody knows anything, but you're already getting a quiz on the civics test. And you're like trying to impress the lawyer. You're like, well, I'm okay with undercover operations unless it's entrapment. And the lawyer's just like, we're not having entrapment. I'm going to explain everything to you and why it's legal.
The best pathway out of that courtroom, if you don't want to be on the jury, is just to start throwing out legal terms. Like,
yeah, if you want to start pretending that you're a real expert, and that's.
Allow me to capitulate on the.
Let me object to your question right now. Go ahead and put a preemptory challenge next to my name. But it's just funny. And of course, Georgia Kappelman here has to ask, how do people feel about the cops going undercover and doing sneaky squirrel shit? As dispatchers, we generally hate it. But let's see what the public thinks.
I would take issue with that.
Okay. So entrapment would be exceeding their authority to pose as someone else. But for the sake of this argument, let's assume it's not an entrapment situation, but it is a situation where an officer is posing as someone else.
No problem.
Okay. Anybody feel like that's not fair? That's not cool?
Drew, one of our great followers who stuck with us through Karen Reed says, I was a little uncomfortable with the whole FBI sting, but I get it. What would you say to someone who said, because you managed your own wiretap stuff. What would you say to someone who said they were uncomfortable with the operations you ran?
You're already gathering enough evidence, and that's not necessarily a fishing expedition as much as it is cementing the criminal charge process. So you already know they're dirty. It's just a matter of being able to solidify it and to justify to keep the wire going more than anything else.
Well, a judge signs off on a lot of these things, right? Like wiretap warrants, like a judge, someone who's impartial to law enforcement has said, like, to me, it seems like you have probable cause. It's more likely than not likely that a crime's going on, and we need to uncover this crime, right?
Not only do they sign off on the probable cause of going up on a phone, which is like the highest standard, it's well beyond searching somebody's residence, but you have to give periodic updates. You have to show every 10 days, like we have had this many, what we call P calls, pertinent calls, where they are talking about criminal activity. And if you run into a dry spell where you hit 10 days where they don't talk about anything meaningful, they'll shut you down. The judge will shut you down, like without any consequence.
I think it's I think that let me ask you this, Jet, and I know you're not on the line to answer, but you know, we've gathered so much evidence based off of recorded phone calls, not just the wiretaps, but the recorded jail calls. We knew that Donna was going to get on a plane and fly to Vietnam and flee from our jurisdiction and perhaps our power to ever hold her accountable for having Danny killed. I'm a big believer in the Constitution, believe me. Civil liberties, top of my list of priorities, but it's like, without granting the leverage to law enforcement to do their job, there are cases in which we can never gather that evidence, and a guilty man might go free. We have to be able to have that leverage in order to do that. And, you know, none of us would be comfortable with the idea of Donna, if she is indeed guilty of setting up Danny to die, of the idea of her living out the rest of her life unaccountable for that in Vietnam. And Drew, I'm sure you'll agree to this, but it's like most of the time when you solve a homicide, in the first 48 hours, you get somebody who's going to talk to you. Somebody knows something. Somebody saw something. Every single person that was involved in the conspiracy to kill Dan Markel was a principal, meaning they were a part of it. They benefited from it. They set up the planning. They brokered a deal between, whether it was the Latin Kings and the Adelsons or whatever. Every single person that has knowledge of this is also involved. And so none of these people is going to, at any point, ever talk to law enforcement and give them the leverage that they need to get that evidence without it. So we have to listen into these co-conspirators talking to each other in order to get that evidence. And if that means employing some deception, you know, and if Donna, they set it up, I think perfectly, because if Donna was innocent, there would have been no trap to fall into.
Right.
She wouldn't have cared. She said, some dude approached me on the street, and he obviously was a case of mistaken identity because nobody ever helped me with any problem up north.
Phone and talked about it, or she would have called the police.
But instead, she called Charlie and said, "Hey, we've got a problem here," and it was that guilty conscience and the fact that they needed to take action that got them in trouble. If they were innocent, then the wiretap would have stopped right there, right, Drew?
Yes. Well, probably not right there, but
soon thereafter, and we wouldn't have everything we have now.
But here's the thing, and this is like I definitely, no, I'm not going to bite your head off, Genta. I am going to push back a little bit though, because this is why I'm so passionate about being truthful. And pointing out these inconsistencies that the defense attorneys put out there, because Genta, now you are skeptical of everything that law enforcement says, when in actuality, it's only because of the defense attorneys from the Karen Reed case. I mean, you might have personal experience, I don't know, but I mean, like, it's only from the defense attorneys from the Karen Reed case who are telling you to believe that there was some nefarious stuff going on. Listen, I don't want to argue or debate this all day, and I don't want to lose, you know, we're at 99, 92. I don't want to lose followers over this. But the thing is, there's never concrete proof that actual corruption took place in that case. There was never any, as much as you want to say like, well, there was inverted video. Okay, but what did the inverted video show you? It showed you that there was a possibility that they could have pulled taillight pieces out, but it didn't show you that they actually did. Give me another example from that case, John. Because what they were hanging their hats on planted evidence. They were saying that
the taillight pieces in the ground were planted. They were saying that they did an initial search and they didn't find any taillight until later.
They're leading you to believe that that if the diffuser is broken, that it won't illuminate like it did on the video. But that's not true. Some diffusers won't, not necessarily all of them, but they're never coming out and saying, no, this is what happened and this is the corruption and I can prove it. In their defense, no pun intended, is always going to be, we don't have to. We don't have to because we're not the defendant in this case. So they can say whatever they want to make you look bad, make you look horrible, make you look crooked and all this other stuff, and they never have to back it up. And then it puts the seed in people like Genta or other people because they are very convincing. I have no issue with the way they, with you, Genta, or the way that you perceive that. You're perceiving it the way they want you to perceive it. I just see through it. I see it differently because I lived it. And I'm not saying I'm any better than you. I am saying that I see it every day. I see these defense attorney tactics. I can go through, that Officer Devers just resigned. So her career is over. She's ruined. And yeah, blah, blah, blah. Nobody should have sympathy for her. I can show you when we get separated from that trial, when time kind of separates, I will break down Alan Jackson's exchange with her and I will show you everything that she said and everything that was truthful and everything that he said that made you believe that she was lying.
Let's skip to the end. Let's just go to you picking a straight fight with him. Let's live stream that.
Okay.
10,000 subscribers deserve more, Drew. Let's go back to the video.
What do you think, 11?
I think if there's justifiable means to be there doing undercover work, then I'm okay with it.
Is it necessary, though? What do you think? 5.
It depends on the context of it. Sometimes it is necessary. I mean, I feel like for police officers depending on the crime that's committed, police officers not always go in. I mean, it depends on, like you said, entrapment. It depends on the context of the situation.
Sure.
If you're trying to entrap criminals, whereas if you're trying to just, how do I word this? Depends on the context greatly because you can't legally try to coerce them into a crime.
Right.
All right. So hold on a second, John. I just want to wrap that up. I don't want to perseverate, but the thing is, this poisons the system. So they claim to be the guardians of justice and to make sure everybody gets a fair shake and all this other stuff, but they pollute the system with that bullshit. And it makes people, A, not want to get involved, B, not want to become jurors, or C, become completely skeptical jurors. And I have no problem with skepticism. They even talked about skepticism in jury selection today. You should evaluate all the facts. Like, there's no two ways about it. But when you manipulate the system on behalf of your client who doesn't want to take responsibility, and you pollute an entire town, an entire Massachusetts, you besmirch a judge just because she doesn't call things your way. You're not being a guardian of the system. You're not playing fair, and that's my point. Like, it's a bad thing for the system. In like Georgia Keppelman's a great example here. She's just having this voir dire where she's having this interaction. The defense has the exact same interaction. In fact, the defense adopted a lot of her scenarios, in when they're trying to determine who the good jurors are going to be and who the bad jurors. But this is all part of the process, and nobody's being underhanded here. And it's definitely being well handled by that Judge Everett. He's doing a fantastic job at keeping the trial moving, but he's also being very fair about it. So all I'm saying is, good defense attorneys do bad things to the criminal justice system, and that's, I think it's a fair statement. And a million defense attorneys will disagree with me and just say, well, if you cops this and you cops that, I don't care what they say. I lived it. They lived it. And my experience is not going to be dismissed just because they think their experience is better. Now, the last point I want to make, John, because I'm almost out of breath and I may die soon. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's true. We all
Goodbye,
die.
everyone. Goodbye, Drew.
And Genta does want to ask me a question, but the thing is,
She did just ask you a question.
the thing is, I want to ask you this. Did you notice that the defense was very careful today during jury selection to talk about, don't be judgmental about what people are wearing out here. Don't be judgmental about what she's wearing, because first of all, they're trying to grandma her up.
They talk about that specifically.
Yeah.
What does a murderer look like? They said, she actually asked at one point, could a murderer look like a grandma? And everyone turns and looks at Donna Adelson, and she's like, did you guys want some cinnamon rolls?
Like this, sharpening a knife. Oh,
It's the frosting. Yeah.
Look at what she's wearing today. She's wearing a khaki suit with a pink shirt. That's what her defense attorney is wearing. A khaki suit with a pink shirt. Yesterday, she was wearing a gray suit with a blue shirt, just like the other defense attorney was wearing. They are doing, in my opinion, what they did with Karen Reed. They are making her blend in with the panel of attorneys at that table. They are making it harder to convict because they think she's an attorney. That's my theory. That's why I think that they had Karen Reed come up with them at every sidebar, because she's just as much the defense as anybody else. Like, it was a brilliant move. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think that this is beyond tactically planned. And if you don't have any guilt, you can show up there in a New York Knicks jersey and a headband, and you'll be fine. But
Eagles fans, not so much. Genta says, I have no criminal law degree, but honestly, it's the first time I ever noticed the defense attorney saw the prosecution mistakes. If she's talking about Karen Reed, I think that makes sense. But Genta today, and I might have this video, I might not, but the defense attorney says, we all like law enforcement. Are you a pro law enforcement guy? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, we'll all agree that law enforcement's not perfect. They make mistakes, right? And they're just like, yeah, law enforcement makes mistakes. They're kind of buttering the skids. I think at some point during this trial of Donna Adelson to make the point that law enforcement's made a mistake. So I think it's possible that we'll even see that in the coming days of the Donna Adelson trial, because it came up today during jury selection.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Genta is making the point that she's like, she's never really noticed the defense attorneys. Well, that's because Alan Jackson's a master at it. He's flamboyant. He's a former prosecutor. He knows how to beat them because he was one. And then the other part of that is, like, you never saw the prosecutor's mistakes. Well, that's I don't know how to put it. Law enforcement makes mistakes in every investigation. Prosecutors make mistakes in every investigation. You're never going to see what the defense. You're not going to see their mistakes because nobody's going to point them out, and there's no burden on them. You know what I'm saying? So, I totally get. I get where people like Genta. I get where Genta specifically is coming from. I just have a different opinion, and I'm a guardian of the system just like they are, and I think that they just go a little bit too far, in my opinion.
Genta, you're always welcome to disagree here, and I hope you put a flame to Drew's feet, because he is full of shit so often. But I will say sorry, Drew. He said that you were impressed by the attorney today for Adelson and the judge. I was watching live, and this is not about. It's not a democracy. It's not like your opinion's invalid just because I don't agree. But all the comments I saw live watching on the Tallahassee Democrat feed, They were all negative. Everyone thought this guy was boring and condescending. Why don't we put him on the screen? I'll show some of him, and then I'm just going to put up some random video of him. I don't even know what it's going to be, but I just, there's other things besides questions. There's also demeanor. There's bearing, cadence, tone. A lot can add up to whether or not someone's likable. So let's take a look and see what, I don't even know his name. Let's take a look
right now for you to understand that. We're not trying to trick you. There are no right or wrong answers. We want to know what you believe. Now, during this process, would it be wrong of me if I were to ask you for your each individual own worldview? We all have our own biases, resentments, beliefs. And I need to know, and I'm going to ask you to share with me, whether or not you're going to carry that with you into the jury box. Now, there's a concept that has gained momentum recently, and that is the concept of implicit bias. Does anyone here know what that is?
Stop at any time you want, Drew.
No? Okay. Well, I'm going to try to explain it briefly.
I've had enough. I mean, look.
He goes on for many more hours.
No, I know. I watched this segment today, and he does a good job at explaining implicit bias, by the way. But he's, I don't know how to say this. I don't dislike this guy. He's fine.
I dislike him.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your line. Here's the thing. At first, he comes off very reasonable, but this was my experience sitting in jury selection, and I hate to keep going back to this, but it's almost like it's a frog in a pan of boiling water. He starts off very nice. Everything's calm. Everything's reasonable. Everyone's got implicit biases, and then he starts off by saying, like, you don't think that just because Donna got arrested that she's guilty, right? And that's reasonable. Like, we don't want Donna to be seen as guilty just because she's arrested. One juror, he'll probably answer to this question saying, well, the fact that we got to this point kind of means something, right? Like, she's been indicted. She didn't take a plea. Like, there's obviously some evidence here. Like, there's something to this. And I get why he wants, and even the prosecution stepped in and said, this is not where you should be at in your thinking process. But like the frog in the pan of boiling water, it slowly gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And I remember sitting in jury selection. It was on a murder case. Luckily, I got dismissed because I'm a former correctional officer, and it turns out I knew the victims, and I was still there for like 3 days. But by the end of this long discussion in which he asks a series of questions, each one was like a step on a ladder to the next question, until the point where he asked this question of the prospective jurors around me. And so someone could really tell a lie by mistake, couldn't they? And everyone turns around, they go like, yeah, I suppose they could. And I'm just like, no, lies are always intentional. Lies are always the intent to deceive someone. Like, you can be wrong, you can be mistaken, but if you're lying, it's an intent to deceive. But all I could see was like, this guy asked, and by the way, on that case that I'm talking about, that guy walked. He did not get convicted of murder. But as we made our way through it, it's almost like, and I don't mean to be over dramatic here, but I will be, because it's a YouTube channel, but it's almost like a little bit of a brain scrub. They try to talk you, they get you to suspend little bits of your own belief and little bits of your own conviction, step by step, never too egregious. The water never gets so hot that you jump out of the pan. But 1 degree at a time, you start separating yourself from your deep morals and your deep convictions and your deep beliefs about what's right and wrong, so that you can become more pliable and more susceptible to the story. Whether it's at a certain point, he's like, now, what if you're talking about a case and a guy you're sure it's him. Then all of a sudden it comes out that he's got an identical twin brother. And of course, I'm busy this whole time, but I'm just like, the jury's just like, well, gosh, I wouldn't know what to do if you had a twin brother. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But what happened was we take people who know the difference between right and wrong, and now they're morally equivocating to the point where you're like, yeah, I guess, if Donna has an identical twin sister, I guess no one can know the difference between right and wrong. Like, that's an extreme example, right? The identical twin, third party culprit.
Yeah.
But how did they get to that point where they said that they couldn't make a decision on someone committing a crime as long as they have an identical twin brother?
No,
do you see how they gave it away piece by piece? It's a slow fade.
It's the same thing in the Hannah Payne. I see Jenta said something about Hannah Payne's attorney, and I kind of agree with that. Like, she didn't have the greatest attorney, but that prosecutor, if you remember in the closing arguments, she said, your job is not to find doubt.
Yeah, your job is not to find doubt. Look the other way if there's any doubt.
So it's basically saying your job is not to search for any truth other than what I'm telling you. And that's not fair. That's not true. That's not true at all. Their job is to evaluate every ounce of evidence on both sides and determine.
And this guy got to that at this point. He's just like, well, what if you disagree? You know, how are you going to come to that? And they're just like, I don't know. We're going to talk to each other. He goes, but what are you allowed to talk about? And at one point, I'm just like, why is he instructing the jury what they can and can't talk about? Like, there's certain things, obviously, that are off limits, like things that are not in evidence. Yeah. But he was starting to get them kind of on the ropes in terms of what they were even allowed to discuss. And it's just like, I'm a juror. I'm here to think for myself. I'm here to decide things. And I know what's in play and what's out of play because the judge is going to instruct me. But I'm here to make the decision and not have you make it for me before this trial's even started. And I was definitely picking up those vibes. That's just me. People watching this right now, you're allowed to believe whatever you want. But I watched this guy talk for like 3 hours, and that's the takeaway that I have from it.
Here's the takeaway I have from it. This is why I'm fine with what's going on here. He is literally there to be the Tallahassee attorney, right? So he knows the locals. He knows, not that he knows the locals. He's protective of, he has to try other cases with Georgia Cappleman, right? So he's not going to step over the line. He's not going to pollute the whole town.
He's not discount Alan Jackson.
He's not discount Alan Jackson. He's not going to just like disparage all of law enforcement and all of the prosecutors and just pack up and go on his private jet back to LA. He has to live there. So it's a smart and calculated move that you have somebody navigate your way through Tallahassee juries, but you'll also see, it's my prediction, that he will be 10 times, if not 100 times more tame.
The thing is you got so burned out by Alan Jackson that you're just ready to love again, and I am not ready to do that.
It's not that. It's just that he's got a lot more to lose. Both of those attorneys, he and the woman seated to his left, that sort of looks like Donna Adelson, they're both Tallahassee attorneys. They're both prominent Tallahassee attorneys. So, and this guy, by the way, is a graduate of FSU law. So he's,
everybody went to FSU. Half the people in the jury are like, I'm currently in FSU. My daughter's in FSU. There's not much else to do in that town.
Not the judge, but
the judge is like, I'm taking some law school, legal classes at night school. And everyone's just like, what?
Leon County Community College. He went to Louisiana. I think he went through law school in Louisiana, but
he did. Should I keep playing from here? Or do you want to see like him much later in the day?
Go for it. We'll do whatever.
And we all want to see ourselves as fair. Can we agree to that? Yes.
We all see. Do you see how he's like, we're all fair, we're all rational, we're all normal thinking human beings. But it's okay for a grandma to kill Danny Markle, right? That'll be his final question 3 hours from now.
Yes. Okay. We all want to believe that we're rational. Can we agree to that? Now, unfortunately, studies have shown that despite our best intentions, none of us are free from these biases. Implicit bias refers to unconsciously held beliefs that don't necessarily reflect our conscious belief. So, for example, you walked into the courtroom either Tuesday or Wednesday, and you saw a gentleman in a black robe. When we see someone like that, we can assume that they're a judge. And you made that decision pretty quickly. Is that correct? Okay. So what if you were to walk into a supermarket and there's a big burly guy with a long beard, clad in leather, and he's walking to a motorcycle. Let's see.
Does he have a twin brother?
Number 5. When you see that, do you see someone who's adventurous?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're riding a motorcycle.
How about dangerous?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Now, you're making a quick judgment when you see.
He just blew his whole point. He was getting ready to, he wanted him to say, yeah, he's probably in a biker gang, but he didn't say it. He didn't bite. He's like,
He's like, no, he's probably just adventurous.
yeah, right. No, he just likes to feel the wind in his hair.
See someone like that, right?
Yeah, that's an implicit bias, right? Correct. Like,
I'm sorry?
that's kind of almost an implicit bias, right?
Yes. Yes. Now, in that
I'm sorry, it was my own institutionalized racism that caused me to answer that way.
same token, you all walked in, whether it was yesterday, Tuesday, or today, and you look over at the defense table and you see my client, Mrs. Adelson, do you wonder to yourself, I wonder what she did? Number two, you think to yourself, I wonder what she did, or I wonder what she is accused of doing?
I don't look that far into it. I mean, I don't know her from the next person, so I would just treat her like another person.
Okay. What about number 9?
No, sir, I didn't have that question.
Well, which one did you ask yourself? I wonder what she did, or I wonder what she's accused of doing?
Neither.
Did anyone ask that question of themselves, or say that to themselves? Number 23.
Yeah, I was wondering, what she is accused of.
Okay. I saw a paddle over here. Number 25. What did you think?
Yeah, like initially, I mean, it's just human nature to be curious. It's like, I wonder what this person was accused of.
Now, do any of you have anxiety or are claustrophobic that if you're in lengthy deliberations that you might want to just leave the jury room?
I thought this was interesting at first because he kind of just tucks this in here. You guys don't want to deliberate long, and they're just like, "No, we're fine with it." And then he moves on from here. But then he comes back to later, like, "What if it's Friday night and you're really hungry for pizza?" Yeah, I think he's really worried that these people, I think it's a serious concern that, and maybe he's right. I mean, he's a defense attorney. This is his bread and butter, but that people just don't want to deliberate, and so they'll just be like, she's guilty. I want to go get my Papa John's. I mean, is that a real thing? Maybe
Yes.
it is.
Anyone at all? Now, going back to implicit bias briefly, does everyone here agree, and let's start on the first row, that you will make an effort to be conscious of implicit bias when you're considering the evidence in this case? Second row. Third row. Thank you. Now, when we were back in the jury room the last couple of days, some of you answered some of the questions. I think I might be able to, or I believe so. And you recall that we asked you to clarify that. First row? Okay. Why do you think we asked you that? Anyone?
Engaging our levels.
Because sometimes, I'd say just about every day in our lives, we face bias because we have a perspective of what the world should be, and we can only deal with bias if we can consciously are aware of how we feel and what's going on around us.
Thank you. Does everyone agree with that response? I need verbal.
Yes.
Thank you.
See, I found that very chafing.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that.
So if a witness were to say, I think I saw this, is that the same as them saying, I saw this?
No.
Another.
I get your point. He's yes, that did rub me like that's the flight attendant in the exit row saying, yeah, nodding.
I need you to verbally confirm not to be a coward.
Yeah. What? How are you going to prove that I verbally confirm this once we have crash landed? Like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think I can add anything more because there's too much stuff on here. Could you take something down?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was going to add a different clip. I want to go back to Georgia Kappelman, if I can have a little bit of room on the board here to add something, because I just want to show how much more likable she is. Here's one of her final appearances of the day, where she comes back, and we can go out of order. That's fine. But this is after another round of selections, and this is after the defense attorney asks his questions. But she gets up here, and she's so self-effacing and so self-deprecating. And of course, both sides kind of try to kiss ass with the jury because you want to be friends with the jury. But just judge for yourself if she's more likable. I just wanted you to see that.
Ma'am, were you able to follow the discussion when I was doing my presentation? As far as we talked about principal theory, I gave my circumstantial evidence demonstration with the cheesy donut example. Anything that you felt like as you were sitting out there listening, oh, I would definitely interject at that point? Or has your mind been numbed so much at this point you can't harken back that far?
I was listening to everything you were saying. The only thing I would have interjected at the moment, I was thinking, I want to say this, but I don't want to say it. I couldn't say it, but
Hotter than Wendy.
I would always consider a person's character when as to whether I believe them or not believe them.
So in the context of, oh, you're going to hear from some witnesses who've been convicted of felonies, who live a different lifestyle from you, that kind of thing, is that the discussion where...
Do you ever laugh to think that the Latin kings live a different lifestyle than you do?
You were having that thought?
I don't think we're that far off.
I try to be open-minded, and I think there are all kinds of people, not everyone, so I don't want to prejudge.
Some Latin kings are nice.
Because I don't know what the circumstances are. That's why I try to ponder the evidence and decide from that point.
Okay, so can we agree then that although that's those types of characteristics or character, as you said, are something to consider, they're not the end-all be-all, and you can keep an open mind to the testimony. Does it fit with the other evidence in the case? That sort of inquiry.
Definitely, I think considering everything is extremely important.
Okay. As opposed to being the type of person that, oh, I hear they're a felon, I'm done. I can't hear anything they have to say.
I think that's very negative thinking to think that way.
Anything else during my time up here where you were bursting at the seams to share something with me? Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
If parties at this point can join me in.
Did you guys know that before he worked as a judge and as a lawyer and as a clerk, the Judge Everett here, also he worked as Grimace at McDonald's?
Is that true?
No.
He was, because he sentenced the Hamburglar.
He sentenced the Hamburglar to death in the electric chair. I'm just going to put up another random file. I'm going to choose late in the day for the defense attorney. I want to see if how he comes across, especially when it comes to the "aw shucks, sorry we even have to be here, but there's a murderer afoot" smile of Georgia Kappelman, who could run for president and I would vote for.
So what you're saying is the state would have to have evidence connecting Mrs. Adelson to her son's actions.
Sure, yeah. Just can't do
They
it
would
beyond it.
have to have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Anyone disagree? Just because he's been convicted doesn't mean that my client is guilty.
Correct.
He got in trouble with the judge here. He's like, "Oh shit!" You see that look on his face?
I mean, it's like he's basically trying the case. He's using that to kind of sweat. Like I would think that would be a no-no.
Yeah.
During the course of the trial, there are going to be some photographs shown of Mr. Markell. Is anyone particularly averse to gory scenes? Nobody? Number 9? Can you talk to us about that?
I get fairly squeamish about that kind of stuff. I'm not passing out the sight of blood, but other stuff that are more gruesome is just a bit unsettling.
What about you, Donna? You squeamish?
Donna's peeking over there saying, "Who's this pussy?"
That's something that
I would have just loved it if she had actually said that.
You wouldn't be able to review that evidence?
I should be able to review that evidence.
Should be?
Yes,
or will be?
Will be able to.
Okay.
Okay. You're winning me over, John. He's got a job to do.
Is that going to impact your ability to be fair in evaluating that evidence?
No, sir.
I want to ask a somewhat provocative question. At this point in time, does anyone here believe the state actually knows what happened? Anybody?
Say that again?
Do you believe the state knows what happened?
Can you clarify that like a little bit more?
Sure. As we sit here today, now remember, prosecutors were not witnesses to this case, correct? They are going to present arguments to you, correct? So as we sit here, do you believe that they know what happened? Or do they believe what happened? You understand the distinction?
Do you see how we've got to the point where we've undermined absolute truth? And I'm not saying it's not them, it's not for the jury to decide, but he just is making the case that, you know, not even the state really knows what happens. They don't really know what happened. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Even Donna wasn't there, and you weren't there. So no one really knows what happened. It's all just people's beliefs. Do you see how we've now framed a story in which we're going to find out what happened to Dan Markell, who is dead. That's the truth. How did he get there? Well, it depends on what you believe.
Everyone understand that? Yes. Okay. Just a moment, Your Honor.
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, the hitmen, Tito, Tato, and Tato,
Tater cakes,
taters are on the witness list. If I'm not
they
mistaken.
are. They're going to testify. That's why they're asking, like, what do you guys think about unsavory people and savory people too? You know, just because of the tater cakes. Do you want me to keep going with this? I've got lots more Georgia Kappelman.
You know, I'm a sucker for Georgia Kappelman, but like we need to, at some point.
You have to. Well, we actually have to go to bed so that we can get up early tomorrow and do opening statements. I mean, I've made my point. I think that Georgia Kappelman's a lot nicer. She's a lot friendlier. She's a lot more approachable. She's a lot more likable. I know that Michael's not on the line anymore, but I honestly do believe that the likability of an attorney is huge. And I realized I had to distill down about 3 hours of this guy's questions. I can only assure you that the people in the chats who are watching live did not have a lot of nice things to say about him.
I can tell you this, and this will be an unpopular opinion, but this is yet another thing I don't care what any of you think, because I was there. She has the command and the affability of Pam Bondi. This is exactly how Pam Bondi was when she tried a felony case. I was there. Like I watched her do it.
I wish she would try more felony cases.
Yeah, I know. But she was like, so everyone knows, before she was the Attorney General of Florida, she was the lead trial. She was the chief of the felony division here in Hillsborough County, where I was a cop, and I've kind of grew up with her, sort of, in that sense, professionally. Not even, you know, like it's not like I have her number in my phone or anything, but she had that same kind of presence, where she's got her stuff together. She's nice to look at. She's not condescending in the least.
She's really good at convicting Adelsons.
She will walk you down a path, and next thing you know, you're like, you've walked through a door you didn't mean to walk through.
I like the way she kind of shamed Charlie Adelson on the stand. She's like, do you really expect us to believe that a couple of Latin kings just decided to kill someone and then extort you?
Like when she's like, was that a great 70th birthday gift? Was Dan Markel's murder a 70th birthday gift for your father?
They're like, no, I also got him a watch. I mean, it wasn't a gift. But we're going to have, for the first time ever, we're going to attempt to be live while the trial's on, and hopefully Mystery Science Theater 3000 this thing a little bit, hopefully having some interesting content. If you guys want an alternative to that smarmy guy in Court TV, who's the guy I'm thinking of? His tie is too tight. You know who I'm thinking of.
Vinny Politan. No,
Vinny Politino. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch us, and you don't have to, but I think we're going to be live streaming. And when does that start? 9 Eastern?
Yeah, probably.
Opening statements. We're not going to do that every day of the trial, just because Drew actually has to be packed in ice every single night. So we have to keep him fresh. But opening statements, obviously closing statements, any bombshell witnesses, if we can go live when Donna's on the stand, any of those key moments, there's gonna be lots of people on the stand that we've already talked about on this show. If you're just getting into this trial, if you're watching us for the first time, we are live. We're normally more polished than this. We also don't normally go for two and a half hours, but we have a whole series of 8 videos in which you can watch, and it's going to take you through the case from start to end, and it's going to get you primed on what to expect from witnesses like Catherine Magbanwa, from to understanding Luis Rivera's role in it, to understanding Charlie Adelson's role. He's possibly going to testify. Wendy's going to testify. She's testified before. These are major players in Donna Adelson's trial. They've been major players in the past. We could tell you what to expect and make sure that when you're watching live, you know what you're seeing. You understand the subtext of it. You know what the lawyers are getting at. You know what they're driving at with their questions, and having that insight, that insider knowledge, frankly, will make this decision over whether or not a woman will get to spend the rest of her life in prison much more entertaining. The quest for justice much more satisfying. So make sure you check out our channel, hit like, hit subscribe, watch all those other videos. You don't have to watch the Karen Reed ones if you don't want to, but you can. And then Sarah Boone ones, also great. Those are hilarious. We went live for a couple of those ones as well.
Yeah, stick with the Hannah Payne ones too. Like I know that's a tough watch because people already had her convicted, just like Pascal explained to us. People had her convicted before the trial even started. But I'm telling you, if you watch it the way we see it, and Jon was definitely skeptical at the beginning of this, was I, but by the end of it, I'm convinced that she was wrongfully convicted.
I went back and forth. I had to be convinced.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
So if we could just end on this note, Jon, people didn't know that we were in a 70s detective sitcom together.
Mm-hmm. And you've been dying to play this.
Yep. Do you want to end now, or do you want to do you have other stuff?
No, I'm good. I could go to bed.
It's showtime, Jon. Just keep the comrades happy.
Drew has access to AI, everyone. This is very bad for the internet.
It's very bad for all of you. Your character said, huh? But I changed it.
Oh my Lord, what a deep cut. You realize there's so many people here who don't know what you're talking about. There's no reason for you to ever bring that up again.
I won't.
It's a kid on the phone. Dead giveaway. Huh? 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 Guys, thanks for watching the Comm Center. I want to wake up in the morning to 10K so that I can retire. I never have to come back. The channel just turns into gold at that point, and I don't have to do anything else.
Dog.
And with Drew having access to AI, no one will even notice. So,
yep.
Fantastic. We have the same amount that when we started with 2 hours ago.
No, we got into the 99s.
What a productive night.
We got 10. We've picked up 10 since. Okay.
And then we lost them every time I talked. Guys, thanks for watching the Comm Center. We're going to be back here tomorrow morning. We understand a lot of you guys have jobs and things that you're doing. You're not losers sitting at home watching the Donna Adelson trial. But if you are a loser like me, we will be here tomorrow with live commentary on the show. I don't know. We never done this before. Don't know what's going to happen. Could be good. Could be great. Just trying to be optimistic. Thanks everyone for watching the Comm Center. It's been a real pleasure, Drew.
Yeah, it has. It's been awkward at times as well.
Yeah, I didn't like the middle third.